Peace, family. Peace, love, energy, and infinite light. Look at what we have here. The first people. First thing that caught my beautiful eye was Algonquin village, the Piscataway, and how the Patawamak. That's where the Potomac, the name Potomac came from. The Patawamak River. He noted that they spoke Algonquin, the language of the Powhatan, and the land they lived on was rich in resources. See, when they first came, colonizers first made contact, they were like, oh, heaven and earth never agreed better to frame a place for man's habitation. Here, in mountains, hills, plains, valleys, rivers, and brooks, all running most pleasantly into a fair bay compass, but for the mouth with fruitful and delightful land. Captain John Smith. That's how he felt, you guys. That's how he felt when he came across our beautiful land. Exploring the Chesapeake Bay in 1608, John Smith recorded that encounter with the people living in the banks of the Patawamak River. He noted that they spoke Algonquin, the language of the Powhatan, and that the land that they lived on rich in resources. The people of the Potomac were generous to the explorers. It appeared to hope that the English would prove valuable allies against their local enemies. I don't know how much that is true, because I know for damn sure we knew not to trust them, and we knew for damn sure they were going to lie and trick and deceive us, as we see today. Prior to the European contact, the people of the Chesapeake area lived in complex society with political, religious, and territory systems that were not very different from those in the rest of the world in the 1500 groups. We weren't religious at all. We were spiritual, all right? That's another lie that they put in this shit when people walk by and read this. And hopefully they have the minds to filter the bullshit, the fuckery from the real. All right, in the 1500s, the group of the people in what is now called Virginia began to organize Algonquin-speaking neighbors into the centralized federations. The national state was in conflict with the groups of the North, West, South that spoke different language. At the time of European contact, Native people were interested in new technologies and materials as possible advantages. Well, we've always been doing trades and bargains, so I don't know why they act like this was our first time seeing this shit over here. So, again, the bullshit they put in these goddamn things. The people who lived in the area are recognized to be the group called the Piscataway, my people, my ancestors. The river was a major source of resource and also the primary means of transportation. Algonquin village, the late 16th century, engraving depict native structures, agriculture, and spiritual life. There you go, as I'm talking about spiritual life. Got the flames running, beautiful, beautiful. Late woodland pottery. This pottery with incisive decoration was typical of the people of that western shore. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, the Piscataway. The Piscataway people were similar to many other people at the Chesapeake, and they depended on the river for many of their needs. Fishing and hunting were essential skills, as were farming and gathering food, resources from the surrounding woodlands. Agricultural study of the Piscataway finds that they lived in towns. Man, we had fucking empires over here. They bullshitting. Say they water us down. Like their Powhatan neighbors in the south, towns were often sited near prominent land features such as river bluffs for defense purposes, so that the scouts could have a good view of the surrounding area. Large river terraces with good drainage were also ideal because they could be cleared for growing crops. Sometimes in the warmer months, small groups would occupy outlay settlements. However, by the time Europeans contact, most would spend the winter in town. Homes were most likely similar to the Yahawakins, common in the Tidewater, large rectangular of oval wooden frame structure, clad layers of the fiber mats. Archaeologists found many artifacts created by the Piscataway and their neighbors that provided insight into their lives. So when they came and colonized our land, and they seen our indigenous artifacts, they started claiming them. What happened? Holy hell, what happened? Johnson told that the Piscataway had particular valuable trade items more for merchant travel. The people used the powder, possibly a zinc compound, as decoration and sold it over the country and decked their bodies, faces, and idols. Damn. So we used the type of powder and zinc for our face paint and traded. You definitely trade the bargain. All right, what happened? The Piscataway people initially welcomed the English neighbors. Bullshit. During the early years of the colonization, hoping they could provide protection against foreign groups to the north. However, as the colony of Maryland prospered, the English turned against the Piscataway and fought for the control of the land. So they turned against us indigenous Indians and tried to act like they beat us in war and try to act like they colonized our land. Some Piscataways fought with the Algonquin-speaking neighbors of the Anahuac Wars as our other ancestors of the 1610 and the 1677. But the native people were ultimately defeated. The Piscataway relocated western by the 1600s. Most had been served into other groups. Some Piscataway remained in Maryland, formed by the basis for the modern Piscataway Indian nations. All right, first of all, they haven't beat us in war. That's facts. They didn't beat us. But the people who say they won war, they're going to act like and write the history, and it's going to be straight lies. Mary Catamaquan. Ooh, I like that. Mary Catamaquan Brent was the daughter of Piscataway chief Catamaquan. Even, I like that. Given it to the care of Governor Leonard Calvert. God damn it. And his sister-in-law, Margaret Brent, in 1641. Amongst many Chesapeake people, it was common for women to act as diplomats and peaceful facilitators between rival groups. Mary's mentor, Margaret Brent, became a prominent figure in the 1700s century. Maryland using her connection to the governor to secure massive land grants in her own name. Holy shit. She also represented herself in a legal case before the state Supreme Court in 1648. Margaret never married and may have been a member of the Jesuit set of the Lay Sisters. The Calvert family commented the religious freedom in Maryland meant that Margaret was not only free to express her beliefs, but also to be independent property owner, something that the law prevented in the colonies such as Virginia. Map of Maryland, Delaware, and Virginia. Little is known about Mary's life except that she married Margaret. Dude, this is crazy. Look at that. Indian kings and queens. Look at that shit. Between articles of peace between the most serene and mighty Prince Charles, by the grace of God, King of England, Scott, France, Ireland, defender of the faith, and several Indian kings and queens. So when they came over here on our indigenous lands, they lied about most of their colonization, lied about all their history. They didn't win these fucking wars. They got their ass whooped. Wow, well, good that we got to read that. But yep, that's that, everyone. We're gonna be getting some more done too. This beautiful sunset coming about. Oh my goodness, beautiful sunset, ladies and gentlemen. All right, you guys. And I will be back with more.